of days of celebration.
And then isn't Highlands on yours too?
Here's a
I
Saturday.
forgot, yeah,
Okay, yeah, 'cause I was
yeah.
thinking there's a bunch.
And we're the same age. Well, now I'm
You-
older than he is, but
Now you're older, you weren't older than him by 3 days
Well-
before?
And we are live.
All right. Calling to order the February 4th, 2026 meeting of the Long Lake City Council. It's 6:31 PM. All council members are present this evening with the exception of Councilmember Newcomer is absent with advance notice. Item 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 3, mayor's comments, Long Lake News, meeting review and updates. Just a couple items tonight. First of all, we didn't not have a work session before the council meeting this evening, and we are meeting on a special night tonight. It's a Wednesday, obviously. We typically meet on the first Tuesday of the month, but due to yesterday, we are meeting on Wednesday, kind of an off day instead. Some updates. A big event this past Saturday on Long Lake in front of Birches, the Orono Lions Snowball Open. Happened to be out of town this year. I was not able to join the event, but I hear there's a really, really good turnout this year and a great event. So thanks to the Lions for putting that on and their partnership and Birch's partnership on that as well. I don't know, was anybody able to make it there? All right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I heard. Kind of not too hot, too cold.
Minnesota just right.
And this, I think the Saturday's Wyzetta's version, their
Chili open.
Chili Open, thank you. Yep, so if you want to do it again, this Saturday. Zetta. Otherwise, about 2, Braver Angels, hosted by the short and its mayor. Braver Angels is an organization that's sort of a bipartisan group of civic-minded individuals that gather to try to bring sides of the political together. Try to not try to change people's minds, but just try to discuss topics and see where there's maybe some common ground and that sort of thing. I've been learning a little bit about the organization over the last couple months. Wyzetta also hosted a similar event in, I think it was October or November. And I've been working with Mayor Tunheim from Orono to hopefully co-host an event with Orono on a Tuesday or Thursday in May at the Orono Activity Center. Some more to come on that, but again, it's a nonpartisan organization. It needs to be made up of individuals from both Democrats and Republicans. And they're a national organization, but Minnesota is their biggest. I've learned Minnesota is their biggest following, or biggest membership is in Minnesota. So those are really good turnout at that event. Saw Councilmember Ricks from Orono there, as well as some other elected officials from the area. So a little update on that, and more to come on a local event that we'll hopefully be hosting. Besides that, that's all that's really occurred over the last couple of cold weeks. When it comes to Long Lake anyway. So with that, we'll move on to item 4, which is this evening's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Item 5, consent agenda. There's items A through E on the consent agenda this evening, including reappointing Erica Leachman to the Park Board for a term effective through December 31st, 2028, and approving a special event permit for Saturday, February 7th. Any questions for staff regarding any items on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Thank you. Motion.
Kelly want to speak?
I don't think so. It's just if there's any questions or anything. But thanks for that. All right, I had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, 6, open correspondence. Open correspondence is an item on the agenda in which the public may address the city council. The city council in 5 minutes or less. Open correspondence comments may also be emailed to city staff by date of the meeting. Anyone wish to approach? No. And any submitted open correspondence?
No.
All right. With that, we'll move on to item 7, regular business. We'll start with 7A, establish an administrative assistant position and authorize staff to solicit applications. Jeanette, is this going to be you? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. As the council is very well aware, with the recent promotion of our finance director to the position of city administrator, we've had an opening at City Hall, and we really did kind of need to get through some year-end, year-start hustle and bustle, and then took some time to really apply ourselves and give some thought to, well, what roles and duties and what position would best provide the level of service we continue to offer and to sustain for our community at City Hall. So we, worked through a position description, identified a whole checklist. Short and in summary, we as a primary responsibility, including all of the utility billing functions, which is still under our city administrator's plate temporarily. Performing a lot of general support and customer service duties, managing office supply inventory, helping us with daily mail and with getting mailings out, helping with some records retention activities on a more regular basis, and helping us keep some files updated, and as we slowly start to phase out some of that too, as we're transitioning a little more to electronic in ways that we can. A big one that we spoke with Public Works Director Dirks about is allocating a portion of this person's time daily to provide some clerical for Public Works. So making phone messages are addressed and logged, and someone is reviewing emails and able to get back to them. We recognize that Sean has a bunch of new staff right now, and we'll be busy training them. But we also want to provide some assistance there at a clerical level, although that person will be at City Hall, but just to really make sure that those service requests that need a little more timely attention do get on the radar. Also, I think that we have decided this person will work on some routine licenses, kind of your dog licenses, and I think we'll probably allocate the parking permits to that as well. The parking permits are actually very tied to the utility billing information, so there's a great logical tie-in there. So I think we've arrived at a really great position description, and if the council is in agreement with that, we're looking for adoption of a resolution tonight to formally establish that position and to amend the salary pay plan, and last but not least, solicit candidate applications. We do also in your packet have a salary range established that was developed by first of all, taking into account what was budgeted for that position, but also reviewing a number of similar positions that we found out on the league site and positions we were aware of that had a similar scope of responsibility. And the pay scale was in line with that.
Okay. Questions for staff on this one?
So I can see that it was it's now a full-time position.
Yes.
And we had talked about kind of if you do get some interest of somebody that wants to do it more of a, after the kids go to school, more, and then what would?
The change there became the addition of the Public Works component. There are calls that come in daily and emails that come in daily that need attention. I think we're anticipating that the addition of the public works responsibilities could add up to 20% of this person's time.
Okay.
And so that really, from a 30-a-week position to a 40-a-week position, be working John and on the clerical front and the customer service front.
Two people, something to do, okay, we wants to work a week.
I think I'd rather try to post it like this because I would like Sean to have one point person to be working with.
But if
I'd
you-
like
I
him to
was thinking the
develop a
same thing,
relationship.
though. I mean, if you had two part-time dedicated to Sean, and then the other could do.
Well, and one thing too, I think
I
when
think-
we post it, I think we're gonna look at the type of candidates that we're getting. Really strong part better for that. I think it would definitely be something, you know, if it was somebody that we both felt was the person for the position, then it would consider. This is just gonna be full-time, so this is gonna be the highest cost that it, you know,
Okay.
that it would affect the city.
Yes.
But I think that's one nice thing with Jeanette and I working so closely on developing this position and developing it for the needs of our city. Now that if we can get approval for full-time, once we start getting these applications in, we definitely wouldn't turn away somebody that would be willing to work 32 hours.
Right.
But would be a perfect fit.
Right.
There is flexibility. We'd probably only start with one then. If, for instance, want to come in at 32, we'd probably,
Yeah.
because in all honesty, Jeanette and I, it will take us a little bit of time to,
We're going to have to learn to let go, is what
Yes.
she's trying to say tactfully.
so, might be a good fit. This would be the highest.
Because right now, I believe, is Sean part of the compliance process for check writing and oversight on
Yes.
that? Is this role something that would take that off his plate, or would we keep that?
No, this person will not have that level of responsibility.
Got it, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
However, they would, to try to, for dual control purposes within City Hall, they would be responsible for probably entering some of the checks into the system.
Okay.
A lot of that we have to figure out, but this is gonna be an opportunity to control. We definitely wouldn't, they wouldn't have high level anytime soon.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
I think too, in part because we have a strong sense of what we're looking to allocate to this position. We have a strong sense of the hours associated with that. And, you know, the right candidate with the right personnel, right jobs, if that is something that accomplishes in a lower time frame. But at least we have an hourly wage approved, and time doesn't necessarily need 30 hours a week. It could be 36 hours a week. You know, there's some, for the right candidate and a good fit for City Hall and for the community, there's wiggle room there.
Benefit earned position, I'm assuming did work 40 hours a
Yes.
week. Policy over like 30 hours or
I
30.
believe around 30. I believe it's
Okay.
30 and above. So after they reach that, already essentially getting all the benefits of a full-time person, the only savings would be in the hourly.
Okay.
Which is part of the incentive for,
If somebody's wanting to work hourly or full-time, then
right, someone who's looking, if someone is looking for benefits, they're looking for the hours that come with that. So a 20-hour-a-week employee doesn't have the same opportunity that a 30-hour-a-week employee. A lot of times it is unique to see attracting candidates is often the benefit we're able to offer. And the frequency of it. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. Super excited to see what, you know, applications we receive. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and it'll be, in the end, it'll be there'll be some savings because as opposed to finance director and city clerk, and this is a little bit not as high of a paying position, so there'll be some fiscal savings.
So salary plan. I'm sorry.
Is that when we moved the salary plan along with the budget at the last meeting in December, the salary pay plan didn't include, although funds were budgeted for the position, salary pay plan only included the positions that we actually have at that time.
So you're gonna add a row.
We are adding a row,
Okay.
and this is the row as it would be inserted.
I'd be curious to see how, not, because I don't know what the other rows look like offhand. I would be curious to see how this compares to those other rows.
That's actually how we created this.
Yeah.
3, and correct me if I'm wrong, of the administrative assistant is equal to step 1, one of the public works maintenance employees.
Is that where we are finally?
So when, we'll get to the public works in
Yeah,
the
it's
next
within a penny.
portion. Yes.
Yep.
So when we were looking at this, we were trying to figure out reasonably and being respectful to our existing. Step 3 of this equivalent to what we will be talking as an entry-level public works obviously have a lot different jobs.
You probably have a table of everybody?
I have a lot, yeah.
Can you- Like one,
I could, yep. Would you like me to send it over?
yeah.
Yep.
please. Just out of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
In the Public Works on page 32.
Yep, we'll get to that one. That one is in the next table.
All right, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-08, establishing the position of administrative assistant and amending the city's 2026 salary plan, and to authorize staff to solicit candidate applications.
All right, motion and a second. Just a very minor typo, I just want to point out, Jeanette, under the before you post it online, the minimum qualification requirement, fourth bullet down, under must be proficient in operating Microsoft Office, must be a copier, not coper.
That is correct. Thank you.
So motion, discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you for the
Great.
correction on that one.
Sure. All right. More vein, then let's move on to 7B, establish a public works maintenance worker position and appoint Michael Decker to the position of public works maintenance worker. It's going to be Amanda. Oh, okay.
All the writing
Sure.
this time.
Jeanette, it's yours again.
And actually, feel free to, although I wrote it, it was tandem effort on this one. We were thinking a little creatively as we were approaching the administrative assistant position. We were also thinking a little creatively about an effective addition to our public works department. We had restructured Public Works a couple years back now to establish separate maintenance worker one positions. We'd authorized employing a total of 3 full-time staff members under Public Works Director Dirk's supervision, and having a 4th full-time employee in total had been to provide really some relief, that is the word, with regard to the department's after-hours on-call schedule. And also to help us bring some contracted services in-house, specifically like mowing activities that we had previously been contracting out for every year. So with some vacancies that have been created with some resignations over the last number of months here, we do want to bring the department back to a full staffing level. We do have an employee whose probationary period was expiring. They had not met the terms of their probationary period. This action, although it offers the opportunity to apply for, it is not because we obviously public works and felt solution in particular area, which is that on weekends we have been paying for our on-call staff to water plants all spring, summer, and to pick up garbage and rake the beach and do really routine rounds activities. And we got to thinking that maybe what would best support the director and his new team would actually be more of a laborer style position, and that there could be an opportunity for that person to work short hours on Sunday, make that part of their regular responsibilities instead of paying overtime to on-call personnel. And then they would work Monday through Thursday with the rest of the team. And of course, there would be flexibility, if there was a special event coming on a Saturday or something, at the supervision of the Public Works Director, there could be some flexibility there on the days. But as we got to talking about it, I think we felt that was a really good solution. And the difference between this position and a maintenance worker one is again more of that laborer focus. Everything is more assist Public Works with this, assist Public Works with that. Grounds maintenance emphasis, and not requiring public water and sewer licensure. So I think that was where we were going with this. And I think it represents an opportunity. I think it would also be great for our to be called on call for true situations. I think we are looking for that. Consider adopting the resolution to, again, establish a position for us and to amend the pay plan to include a pay schedule, which is in here. It is a little bit higher pay scale than the administrative assistant support position, in part because this is be working with heavy equipment and operating equipment, and there's some inherent risk with that.
So how is the plowing going? I mean, I know that we had some temporary relief for that. So
Been relieving.
During training in the amount that we've received this year already, having an experienced driver has been a wonderful asset. Continue utilizing the plow driver throughout this winter until other staff are properly trained.
Okay.
So that way we know that the residents are taken care of timely and efficiently, and then hopefully by next year everyone would be trained. And
They're still kind of
There
learning
could
their
be-
way around a little bit.
correct, and there could be opportunities. I mean, we'll reevaluate the plow drivers next year. There are benefits of having an on-call plow driver versus paying overtime, which is benefits, but continue throughout the rest.
Assuming the council does elect to move forward with the position, our Public Works Maintenance Worker 1, Michael Decker, has submitted a letter of resignation and is actively interested in the position, and I do think he would be a good fit.
So,
Sean wants that as well?
I did verify that with Sean, that was
We
his
did.
desire. I do think the benefit of that right now is, as Jeanette mentioned, this position would be more of a labor position, and it's really nice because Michael is familiar with the city right now, doing all the on shifts. The last had come in, and he's it's also in the future being on call based on, and so we can get some lower hourly. It's 2 employee on an on-call position. It is a cost savings. And my goal is to have some one weekend day summer around, but during the summer I think it will be also things to the city. Not
so then how would Sam then?
the way this will handle. Friday evenings, sleeves, they would be doing a full trash collection. Saturdays would not be, because then the first thing that would be done, and that's why there's here for a Sunday morning at 7 a.m., the very first task that would be done in the rotation would be Nelson. And then we would start the trash rotation there, and then we would end Sunday with another trash rotation. And so the goal is that we would collect Saturday trash on Sunday morning, do the watering, and then do one more final trash collection on Sunday. So there would really only be one day of employees, but I think that my idea is going to
Yeah, just like on a hot, very hot summer day, maybe on a Saturday, well, might maybe need to have somebody work to water. I don't know how, if they could there too, that's great.
They
but
can
that's-
actually have
okay.
reservations. Idea would be to do Fridays for the week and then the Sunday. Yep. But of course, yes, if anything was stressed and they were drinking literally every day and, using their reservoirs, then of course, bringing in the on, create some flexibility within this position, but I think that was the goal here, is really to establish a different kind of flexibility and have it be a regular weekend duty versus an on-call overtime situation every weekend.
So would this
Sense.
person be, was this structured with knowing that the person wasn't available on Saturday? Because it seems like sometime, if you had a busy weekend, like July 4th, or something like that.
Buckhorn days.
Buckhorn days.
That's when your on-call would still come in.
Okay.
Yep.
We didn't feel it was to try to hire somebody to have to work every weekend, both days.
Right.
We thought was going to be a little bit of a tough sale. That is where we've already talked to they're still on-call public works employees. So on is where we intend to hire, then we would coordinate whoever's going to be on call that week to come in on Saturday for events or recycling days. There will be still situations where public works would have to work on weekends. However, I think it's going to be much easier for them knowing that there's only a handful versus right now it's almost every other weekend that they have to come in, or every third weekend that they would have to come in. And for a lot of adults, they don't
Want to be
come in on
Right.
Saturday and Sunday.
cabin or whatever, yeah.
Correct. So
Fridays and Saturdays are often very precious, but Sundays, it seemed to be an easier sell. Plus, having someone there Sunday morning covers the very intense use in the parks on Saturday.
Right.
So that was really kind of the idea behind it.
So did the person that kind of stepped down and gave resignation, is that something they kind of are still kind of have a goal towards, but it just didn't work out in the time frame?
he said that he would like to continue to work towards that goal. And at his own pace. So him and I station before it was brought to council, kind of asked what his thoughts were. A draft of this new position, what his feelings were on. I told him, I said, go home, think about it for the weekend, and let me know. So his goal is to continue to work towards it, but there's not going to be that timing of getting the sewer. My expectation for workers 1 and public workers 2 is they need to be completely independent. In a city of our size with a public works department of only 4 staff, every single employee needs to be 100% independent. They need to be able to respond to phone calls. If they get a water main break or something, they need to be able to respond to them if needed. Right now what's happening is every single call, the on-call person may be taking it, but then they're calling Sean in. So it's not really being conducive and causing a little bit of burnout. So I need all the employees to be in their own roles. So by having this position created, it will allow him to take pride in the parks and the trails and assisting public works whenever need be, but not being expected to handle a water main break on his own or something at that higher level.
And also offer an opportunity for those upper level staff to really focus on their training and focus on learning the city's infrastructure and how to maintain it for it. And
So the public worker number 2, the one that we hired, could they respond to the water main break on their own?
That's our goal. It's not yet because he's
Okay.
so new.
Still new.
But that's our goal. That
Okay.
will be expected. I do know that we had a water main break this past weekend and he was,
Didn't know that.
Called in Sean?
Sean called him in and so he worked with them very closely to try to get that taken care of.
Yeah, it's kind of,
It's-
manage it.
Yes. Next year, very as a city. I'm just trying to make sure that we have all of the roles to start taking care of these things.
Need
I don't know. I would like how this works. I'm, but actually, without waiting to everything play for this, how quickly the employees.
Plus the emerald ash borer, we got more trees to remove, I think, and once that, free up some time for that.
So, the budget, because I know they're budgeted for position, and we want workers.
I was prepared for this question.
Yeah.
So if both of these positions were approved, given that the our administrative assistant would be spending 20% of their time in public works. This isn't in your packet, I apologize. I just did it on my side notes. I can put it up on the board if needed. So if the administrative assistant, 20% of their cost was going to the public works departments, at the end of the year, and this is going to be worst case scenario because depending on when people get hired and so forth, the general fund for City Hall, we would be under budget around $6,000. The general fund for Public Works would be over budget by approximately $1,700. The water fund would be over budget by $377. The sewer fund would be over budget by $408, and same with the sewer fund. So with the exception of the Public Works general fund, every other fund would only be short around less than $400 for the entire year, and then the offset to the general fund, the $1,692, would be with the City Hall administration budget coming in under at $6,700. So we will be doing very good. We will be doing very good with the budget at the end of the year if.
We still have wiggle room. It's
We
just
still
not
have
under
some
that
wiggle room.
accounting column.
Correct, yes. So
Because at the end of the day, we're already budgeting for 4 public works employees. This is just a slightly different allocation of that.
and this is actually a savings because 2 of the areas budgeting for Public Works, we were for leave 2 number 2. This dropped a 2, a 1, and a 0. So that would be a cost savings, and then there also hopefully be cost savings in on-call and overtime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Point.
So if numbers come correctly, we should be pretty good for the 2026 budget.
No vehicle need, if there's 4 employees and different things, is there gonna have vehicles for them all?
Well, 4 employees was approved quite some time ago.
Years
So
ago, right.
I'm assuming that has been planned. Now, if you recall, there was a $30 transfer this year into our newly created fleet capital fund. So there's a $30,000 transfer because I do know Sean was talking about purchasing another vehicle, and $30,000 was the amount that he had given me for that. So I am confident that he has made the
Just planning
appropriate.
for that, okay.
I believe we're in good shape with vehicles. I mean, earlier, last year, we had 4 full-time public works staff and a couple seasonal workers. So I do think the vehicles are there to support this because we're still with the same 4 staff. It's just a different allocation of responsibilities that I think will better support the upper level staff and also create opportunity for the labor position to focus and take pride on their areas of responsibility and give anyone in that position the time that they might need to consider whether it's a fit, whether they have an active interest in pursuing water sewer in the future. So outside of this current candidate moving forward, there seems to be some opportunity with this position for someone who might want to take a little more time exploring public works before they are in that maintenance one with the obligation that they must obtain their water sewer licenses. It's almost a bit of a, for lack of a better way to say it, almost like a ship on steroids.
That's right.
How much different is this that a print early non-exempt, I'm gonna say 0, but zero,
also have my
from
computer
part-time.
I don't
Okay.
know, I turned it off.
So the
Asking
difference between step 2 and step 1, I believe maintenance worker 2 to maintenance worker 1. Maintenance worker 1 was about 82, what step 2 was making. So this is about the same. Line, wise,
2%.
you just from memory, because I've been looking at this a lot lately. Right now, a maintenance worker 1, step 3 is making around 30. So there would be a wage adjustment for the employee that would be applying for this job. It would be,
And they are aware.
yes, there would be a significant wage decrease, because right now they're at around 31
Okay,
for step 3.
and he's okay. And what would, like, for part-time, like, the part-time workers,
I believe they were around 24.
so it is higher than part-time?
Correct.
But more consistent throughout the year, though.
Yes, and I'm trying, and that's amongst all, and John's right, I should have had the pay plan in this, and I didn't even think about it, but we were trying to make, the pay plan, we've looked at it as a whole as well, to try to look at all of our staff and see if they were being paid based on the expectations of work.
Would it be helpful if I brought it up from the packet from
Maybe,
December?
that might be helpful, thank you. Oh, it doesn't have these in there.
Not these in there, no,
You
but the
could-
other pay
yes,
plan.
that would be
if you would like
wonderful.
it.
So we've been trying to be consistent as far as what expectations are for all employees. And then when we created these positions, taking that into consideration so that we're not bringing someone in new making, just shy of what somebody that's been there for a long time is making. And we also, like Jeanette said, we looked at other cities to see what they were paying for similar positions.
Positions.
Yes. Now, what Jeanette will be bringing up right now is the pay plan that we approved with this year's budget. So these 2 line items were additions to that. This is also a good time to mention. Jeanette and I were trying out today my new laptop. I will be able to pull it in real time.
Wow.
Get it all set up this weekend. So I will be, when you ask a question, I will be
Fancy. That's
to
awesome.
pull it up and access my computer in real time, which will be very beneficial for all of us.
Yeah.
Apologies
Your
with the
brain doesn't
scrolling,
keep
we're
all
getting
of it in
there.
Sure.
No.
Sorry. I
That's okay. No,
apologize.
You're doing good. Next.
Here we go.
Yes.
So this was the approved pay plan from the December 6th meeting. So when we say amending the 2026 salary pay plan, what we are talking about is updating the salary pay plan.
So it'd be the 2 lines underneath the non-exempt. So the maintenance worker laborer would go directly underneath that, and then below that would be the administrative assistant.
Okay.
And yes, as you can see, the seasonal maintenance workers was at
2150. Is that different? Yep, never mind, just answer my question.
And so the person we're considering, he's gonna be step 1, or,
No, we're bringing him in at step 3.
okay.
And I apologize, he was currently at step 2. He was working towards moving up to step 3. So he was at 2967 currently, and he was looking at moving up. He had not met those qualifications.
Go back to that first.
It's okay. I can email that out as well. Actually, we can email out an updated version, but
Yeah, I have no.
Yeah, if you can send it to all of us, that'd be great.
yeah.
All
For
right.
the new worker, what step do they start at?
They would be starting at a 3. That
3.
was a negotiation.
Okay.
No, they would still be on probation for 6 months. I'm doing monthly dates with, and then after 6 to step 4, in the worker labor. And the reason that we decided to start them steps is because this person is already very familiar with with the city, with the equipment, and taking on-call shifts. And he's also offered to take 2 on-call shifts per year to be the city.
Nice. All right. This one would require 3 different
It
motions.
does. And
Okay,
apologies for that. I know it's a little wordy, but they are separate actions in order.
all right.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-7, establishing position of public works maintenance worker and amending the city's 2026 salary plan.
All right, I'll second that. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of public works maintenance worker Michael Decker, effective Friday, February 13th, 2026.
All right, I'll second that. Any motion second, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion also carries unanimously.
And I'll make another motion to adopt resolution 2026-9, appointing position of public works maintenance worker and approving compensation.
All right, I'll second that also. Any further discussion? Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Great, thanks Jeanette for pulling that together mostly, and Amanda as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we move on to other business already. So go around here, Councilmember Feldman.
Nothing, thank you.
All right, Councilmember Dybek.
I have a call tomorrow, and I'm trying to find it here, with Jane Davidson and, was it Lake Restoration? It was somebody, I can't remember. To discuss the alum treatment option for the lake. Restoration, and, to get information. Work for a lake like ours, it's, no plans are being made or anything like that, it's just informational, but that's tomorrow, so that's all I had.
We
And
did
she's,
find some record and work session minutes, and it was just conversation here, there, and everywhere, so it wasn't really an action per se, but I did find some reference, because we've been doing a lot of records cleaning, to the fact that there was an alum treatment done in the 1990s,
Yeah.
and the Watershed District was the lead on that, so.
Oh, really? Do you have any information?
Don't
on
have
that?
any specific.
I've heard that too, that
Yep.
there was done in the 90s, but
It was a work session that Marv had spoken at, and Marv stepped up and mentioned alum treatment with the Watershed District in the 90s, so. Any detail?
it is, they've really, in the last, now it's a multi-application process rather than just like dumping one in once and being one and done. I think they've got a kind of a scientific approach to it, but again, it's just information sharing and maybe some potential cost, which is probably going to be, I guess, but
would the, Lake Waters, are they looking,
so, well, so it's the Long Lake Waters informational meeting, just alum treatments, and Lake Restoration will be presenting. So,
Okay, that's how that turns out. Having a meeting tomorrow morning with Creek Watershed District Director James, forget his last name, and then
I think.
And then Janet Schaefer, I guess, citizen member of the Watershed District, if I remember. I think that's her official title. So he's just going to give us an update and kind of a little bit of a debrief after the meeting that was in Orono City Council chambers. So there'll be maybe some overlap there, and we'll give them an update that's you guys are having that discussion as well. And I think the plan is, Amanda couldn't make it tomorrow, but I think the plan is for James and Amanda to meet in the near future as well, just to kind of go over what the long-term plan is for the project to do the Holbrook Park, kind of over it.
Him and I have already had a few meetings, and so I think he's actually, him and I to update you. He saw his
Okay.
email, so, yes,
Okay.
we've been, working together the last couple months, so.
'Cause
Got
that was tabled a long time, well, sort of tabled, not officially, but
Yeah, I made it at that meeting at Orland City Council chambers. It made it seem like that was going to be a few years away yet. But
The Long Lake, it is, their current grant that they're working on, Long Lake is gonna be their focus. Jeanette and I have talked, we're gonna be realistically probably a 10-year project, and they're pretty honest about that too.
But that's what they said 10 years ago, too.
I know,
I'm serious, I was.
I
in
know.
those
I
know.
meetings.
which is really hard to stay available. They needed to, whenever they need me to answer questions or to discuss ideas. A meeting, probably so ago, it was a brainstorming meeting on ideas in bring to the city of Long Lake. And so it was mainly just throwing everything out there and seeing what sticks to further their research. So
Vision board and nature
it is
right
very
now.
vision board. But I do know that I was going to mention in my updates. I did a Minnehaha Watershed Creek kickoff,
oh yeah,
and they've talked about projects that they had completed in the past, and they did mention that Long Lake is going to be the next focus. Now, not necessarily the lake itself, but as far as stormwater projects and what we can do outside of the lake itself to help with some of the
Keep the
issues that we're having.
lake clean.
Are they actively doing, it looks like over on County Road 6, that they're digging, like, maybe that pond.
That is one of the areas I would believe.
So there is some activity, but I didn't know if that was the watershed district.
I'm not sure. I do know that, you mean, is that over in Medina?
Well, it's on the south side of,
it's in
6.
Orono, I think, but
Yeah,
it's,
oh, yeah, it is Orono.
Mentioned, this is, I think that this large scale area, they're looking at some of the things,
well as well that was it, all the lake and streams from Medina that go. We're working on as well.
Yeah.
So I'll get up to.
Because those holding ponds require maintenance. I mean, and I talked to some of them at that meeting at Orono, and they agreed that there had been, maybe there hadn't been kept up, you know, because you can't, once these fill up with these
Sediments or something.
yeah, phosphorus, you know, the loading materials, I think they have to be cleaned out.
well, and that's where I was talking with Jeanette, and I've kind of talked a little bit to Public Works to try to understand what's happened in the past and what hasn't worked. And Jeanette had said the same thing. It runs into, we do these projects, and then if they don't get maintained, it falls into whose responsibility is it
Right.
to maintain. And so one of the things that I would be looking for in this last meeting, we need something extremely, and if Watershed's not going to do it, then sure that it's either in something that we could handle or we can't, and then we would have to. It's definitely in my consideration when we're looking at some of these projects. I do think it's something that if, for right now, it's city-owned, it may be a situation where the watershed assists us in doing some type of city infrastructure there that would help with stormwater, that would bring to the eye. We've talked about a lot of things. It was a good meeting, but and so I'm not going to that we have to attack this from both places. I was also a Zoom call tomorrow, which I won't be able to. Medina invited me to meet with for their having, I believe, alum treatments Medina, or looking at possibly water that's coming down,
Targeting tributaries.
and I did at this meeting, and I won't be able to attend this one, but
Else woods, that drainage.
I'm 100% contact very closely. I'm working with Medina and well, to try to make sure that us as has a seat at the table in any of these. That's what I know. I will continue to stay in every area that I can, so that way we can try to take care of and accomplish. I think it's going to be something that comes up with our residents this summer, so.
Yeah, it's kind of short notice because we just solidified the meeting today, but if anybody else want to join me tomorrow at 10 o'clock, welcome to do so, one of you at least, but not two of you. All right, so anything else, John? Did Shoreline Fire, did we get a new deputy chief that started like a couple days ago, or?
Yeah, February 2nd, I guess.
Nice.
Why, nice.
Yeah, so John Paskowitz started, and I went over there Monday morning, and he was already drinking from the fire hose, and learning everything. So no, I think he's hitting the ground running, so that's good.
Great.
I think they had an ops meeting today, right?
I did, yes, and I will be going over that
Jeez.
in my other business as well.
All right. Otherwise, yeah, to cover the watershed district, 2026 road projects, any updates on that from staff?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, this meeting, gosh, we're gonna be here. You got a big list to cover tonight. Awesome.
Yes.
We'll wait for that.
Take it
then.
away, Amanda.
So I'm gonna say I have no other business and let's move on.
There we go.
This wasn't even on my other business. But I will give you a quick update on projects within the city of Long Lake. I've been working really closely. I met with our engineering firm and Sean to kind of discuss expectations. We met about a month ago or so. Our first priority will be our I&I project. There is a very large grant that we have applied for. It's you can apply for up to 3 million. So I went ahead and authorized WS to apply for the full 3 million. And that after our, if you recall, 2025, we did televising of district for which I've been for. So we do, but what we will be the I&I grant is we applied, we gave them every piece of information we could offered by the, if we were to get 3 million, cost the city 1 point. Of that, 700,000 of it, if you recall, will be used out of our TIF money that I said we did for the downtown district. So even if we weren't to get the 3 million, the downtown district is going to be our priority because we have TIF funds to use for such. And then we would be using some of the capital transfers that I had earmarked for I&I, and then possibly other money that was sitting in general capital, but we would then be responsible for 1.5. I think that would be well worth to use 3 million treating our sewer system. That's my first priority.
Cover, like, would it cover patching or?
No, according to Jeff, we might be able to line most of the city.
It's an inflow and infiltration grant.
Yes.
So,
I think, and she said it was 3 million. 5 is us, is and half-ish is the TIF.
Of that 1.5, half of that would be out of the TIF.
So the city be on the hook for,
800,000.
Correct.
but
Which, if we lined,
and we can see the dollar amount
one
right away
completely,
of-
and been
so.
approved when we were doing the cost analysis. We would be lining all city lines and going into line, let's say 6 and whichever it is to cover the seams.
They say lining the Y.
Yes.
Yep.
So that is my goal for
800,000 pay that 2 years of Met.
correct. Now full disclosure, no, and that's not going to go away. I mean, we have
They're
to be
only going
At this
away.
rate, they're
INI's
only
going
getting
up, and
worse,
those are getting-
correct?
correct, but it is our residents right now just received their first utility bills with the new Met Council fees, and we need it's a concern of mine. Very I don't know if ask, but we have documentation as the entire city, and it is evident that this money is needed. And so I'm hopeful that we would get what we were asking for, and if not, whatever we do get, I'm hoping we'd get something. Whatever we'd get, we would put to good use. So that is my first project. The second project that I've kind of taken would be Grand Avenue, and I will be presenting this to council later. I would like to do a
Mill and overlay?
mill and overlay. I would like to
Like a
rethink
pavement
Grand.
reclamation.
After talking to Jeff, I don't think Grand is reasonable for our city. I think that we're focusing so much on this one street. A few items that we are getting proposals on is if we just do a mill and overlay of Grand and look at possible curb and gutter if necessary. And then apparently Jeff has a lining for lines as well. Appropriate for, rather than replacing this entire line for, we would line
Lakeview and
on
Upperly.
Grand. Like that's not the problem.
apparently not. And this is with Sean and Jeff. Either way, we're going to come up with a solution because we can't keep the message that I had with WSB is we're done planning and we have to start working.
Is lining of water lines, is that a proven thing? I hadn't heard of that. Because that's
We
a
hadn't-
different lining. That has
That's
to
a
be a
complete-
pressure.
yes.
That's a pressure.
That's why I
vessel.
said apparent. This was, Jeff, our engineer, had mentioned it. Sean had not heard of that either, so we will be doing some research. Either way, this is kind of, we're looking at being more creative with Grand. And then there are two other streets, please don't ask,
Lakeview and Upperly.
thank you, which we'll probably be looking at this year. I think as a city, we are going to start looking at annual road work. I'm going to a conference tomorrow. I'm going to the Ellers Conference Thursday and Friday. One of their main topics will be bonds. And so that is, I've signed up for every bond topic I can get to. So that is why I will be gone Thursday and Friday, because I will be going to the Ellers Conference that I prepared and completely, and if we have any large future projects, and we could be prepared for that.
Lakeview and Upperly Lane, it seems like.
Lakeview
Yeah,
and, yes.
And we are going to start, I have given WSB we are going to start figuring out either if we need a bond, we'll be coming up with ideas. So roads will be a focus for our city this summer. WSB is working on that. In addition,
So that curb and gutter too.
I-
Upper.
I believe so, but I say that some residents don't want curb and gutter. This is going to be something that they look at later.
For the lifetime of the roadway though, and the stormwater.
SB's recommendations at that point.
Yes, so I will be working closely with WSB. Like I said, right now, Jane is the I, and hopefully we'll hear back from that soon. And then, so I believe that's all I have for water and sewer. I wanted council and our residents notified of transportation. There will be a meeting on February 9th from 5 p.m. at the White Hall to discuss the next phase of the Highway 12 construction project. Here, like I said, they're 19th from 5 to 7. If anybody.
You're not a road.
What are they?
This is in Wayzata. This is in Wayzata, so it's MnDOT will be making improvements to Highway 12 from Shoreline Drive, which is also County Road 101 in Wayzata, to 494 in Minnetonka. Well,
Not
it's not in our city, but it's a Just wanted to let
Do you
residents,
have that?
Intending to signing up for the subscriber list. Can it's that folks.
Great.
update that I have. Today we had a meeting. Chief Highland has asked me to share with council a update from our fire department. So the first item that we were informed about today were calls year to date as of yesterday. We've had 62 calls as of yesterday. Of those calls, 52 of them were in Orono, 8 were in Long Lake, 2 were in Minnetonka Beach. I have a full listing of what type of calls were received, but those are your 62 calls so far.
So is that,
100 pace, right?
Huh?
That's high.
Yeah, that
I
is
think it
nice.
is high. And after,
Could be, I mean, is it related to the cold weather that we had?
well,
Or not?
the house alarms, we've had
Some-
12.
Yeah.
Heart, we've had 11. One thing that we did talk about with these calls as well is we are going to start looking at possibly identifying false alarms a little bit better so that we know what's actually a fire call versus a false alarm. So that is what we received from calls. Another very exciting update from our fire department is that they have, I told you I have a lot, sorry.
Yeah, no, this is good.
That they have, they were able to sell both, or 2 of the vehicles. The first vehicle that went to Heavy Rescue 12, $76,000.
Wow.
That was much higher than we had anticipated, very. The tank sold for 50. Recall city vehicle. The will be going to the capital fund for the fire department. So, for the Shoreline Fire Department.
Yeah.
For
I talked to Gonzer today a little bit, and I think we got, what, 150-ish?
152, 679.
And I think there's 2 or 3 more vehicles that are up, and I think in the aggregate, we had counted on those equaling 150.
150, correct. We had,
So-
Exceeding
we
expectations.
exceeded expectations with these 2.
great.
There are 2 more that I know of. One would have been an Orono vehicle, and the other one was another Long Lake vehicle, so that they will be.
There was a pickup truck that,
The 2002 or.
I believe that one will be going next.
and was there some talk about our Public Works?
I had Public Works go look at it, and they are not interested.
that
So,
would have solved your vehicle problem?
I tried.
It's the wrong color.
Yeah, that's a
It's
juice.
old, but it was in really nice shape.
I agree, yes.
Yeah.
I had offered it. It was,
So just to be clear, is the capital, the funds are going into the Shoreline Fire
Shoreline
Department? Next capital fund
Correct.
for fire?
all of these vehicles were as part of the Shoreline. So they will be going to the department's capital, verify that with them today.
Nice.
So, and then the one last fire department update, sorry. I will be bringing to the board next week. If you recall, the city of Long Lake was for services. I talked to a friend of mine, put in contact with a fire that has a lot of expertise that would be a really good fit to help Shoreline find service opportunities with neighboring cities. And I met with Wyzetta yesterday, and they are extremely excited about this opportunity. So I'll be bringing it to the board at the next meeting, and then I will be bringing it to council at our next.
So is this the study part?
Correct.
Okay.
And that grant was a shared one between us and Wyzetta, right?
It was not. I don't believe it was. That was a little confusing. It was done before I was here. Long Lake is the only name listed on there.
Co-sponsor.
Long Lake is the only signature. And when I talked to
Really?
Aurora at Wyzetta, they were not listed. And she kind of thought the same thing. I think, however, because we know that Wyzetta and Long Lake worked really hard together to do it, I think my intention, I hope that Shoreline Boards is to also to continue to work on that relationship. But Aurora is also very interested in if there's opportunities for us to explore other neighboring cities and fire departments, to expand it beyond Wayzata and Shoreline, to look for really good service opportunities. You know, once we have this administration money, we think that this is going to be a good opportunity for both cities.
Good.
And that money needs to be used by June or something like that?
Correct, and the consultant's aware of that, so I'll be moving very fast in February, and he's actually, will be sending me a new contract tomorrow that I'll be bringing to next week's board meeting, and then the following week it will come to council to approve, and then we will execute.
Terrific. Great update.
I'm done.
All right, that was good. Jeanette, what else do you got?
Some IT wildness, that's about it. We received a generous donation, which we'll formally receive on the next agenda, of some new monitors to help outfit the offices back there. And we have everything all plugged in, and we have some new PCs ready so we can work on transitioning our administrator to an office space and off the front desk. And I will likely be working this weekend to facilitate that with our IT individual, so.
Okay. All right, good.
So hopefully by Monday, she will be prepared to move into an office space.
Nice, nice, great. That's progress.
Progress, yeah.
All right, last call, anything else? Okay, so let's look at the calendar here. We got President's Day on Monday, February 16th. So our next meeting is Tuesday, February 17th is the plan. All right, well, if there's no objection, I'll adjourn the meeting by general consent. Hearing none, meeting's adjourned at 7:37 PM.
The dissolved solids,
Be collaborative,
like,
collaborative
you know,
with
the leaves and the
Wayzata.
salt and stuff on the roads.